From Poco to Cold Roses, all the way up to Cowboy Carter, there is a sound I hear all the time that I would say haunts me. Every single time I sit down to write some new music, there's a point in the process where I think to myself, I know what it's missing. The picture in my head is of a 10 to 12 string, double neck monstrosity with 8 foot pedals about the size of a love seat, and it probably requires a graduate degree to even operate. I'm talking about the pedal steel guitar, and they sound good. So good that I genuinely considered owning one. But these motherfuckers are expensive. Expensive and large. I don't exactly live in a wet cardboard box under a bridge or anything, but I'm in Minneapolis and space is definitely at a premium here. I can barely afford to store 2 trumpets comfortably in my little studio space I got here, and one of those is just a little guy. He's just a little guy. So that leaves us with a couple options. Firstly, there are digital versions, so you can buy a plugin for the DAW of your choice that I'm sure does a great job of emulating the pedal steel sound. Bonus, you don't have to lug around the giant instrument, and if you already play a MIDI keyboard, you don't have to learn a new one. A buddy?
I'm a dang old freak. Okay? You know I want to feel that thing? Slip sliding around, making my tendinitis even worse?
But seriously, if it's at all feasible, I'm almost always going to choose the real deal over the plugin. Now, I have a bit of a habit of collecting instruments, but honestly, none of them go unplayed. I genuinely enjoy the process of learning something new. But in this case, it's pretty clear that a full-size or even a half-size pedal steel wasn't going to be a realistic option, so I needed something I could, fit into a guitar rack, say, something portable that I could bring to a last-minute session without straining anything during transport. That's right, fuckers. Today's real topic is the lap steel, a beautiful little instrument which, with a few small modifications, can get you a lovely approximation of that pedal steel sound. Now, is it ever going to sound exactly like its bigger, older sibling? Probably not, if we're being entirely honest with ourselves, but it's a great step in that direction, and it's a lovely sound in and of itself. So, I went ahead, I took the leap, and against my better judgment, I took some power tools to the thing to try to get it a little bit closer to the sound I have in my head. Before I get off topic, let's take a quick look at the end result of that work, and we can circle back and talk about how exactly we got there. All things considered, I am pretty happy with that. We're well on our way to one-man band territory here.
Hello everybody, I'm Archie Bell and I'm also the Drells.
Friends of mine that I play music with regularly may have heard me rant about Operation Be Your Own Ringo. Progress may have stalled a bit there, but I'm happy to say that Operation Be Your Own Graboff has had a fairly successful launch. So, let's talk about the instrument. I opted for the Gretsch G5700 lap steel in Tahiti red. I tried to find that seafoam green model you will see online, but getting a hold of that thing was next to impossible, okay? I was in conversation with a retailer, I won't say who, that had the SKU and a serial number listed on their website. So you know at one point they had a hold of this thing, right? And right as I was about to purchase it, it disappeared from a warehouse, never to be seen or heard from again. So, Yeah, red is cool, I guess. This is a pretty standard middle-of-the-road starter guitar for something like a lap steel, around $200, $300. You can find used or B stock for a little bit less sometimes. I don't know, hypothetically, let's just say some genius drops a slide and dings up the fretboard. You could probably save a couple bucks on something like that. Now you can find cheaper models, and of course you can really cough up some G's on something like a Duesenberg with 2 pickups, 2 benders pre-installed, which will save you a lot of trouble in case you're planning on modifying anything. But this one comes with a stock single coil pickup, volume and tone controls, a chrome plated bridge, and it's strung through the body, which will come up later. It also comes with one of those weird metal brackets that I still don't know why they exist. Everyone just removes them as soon as they get the guitar. One of these guys. I don't understand. I really don't. Now, I'll get to the mod installation I did in a little bit, but first let's just discuss how you actually play this thing as it's sold. Concerning the right hand, lap steels are generally played finger style, either with a set of finger picks or just with the little fleshy tendrils that come stock standard on most human bodies. Left hand technique involves a weighted slide, usually metal, and that's dragged along the strings like you see, requiring a good ear for intonation and some careful muting of unwanted string noise. There are a few different types of slides available, including this kind I own that I'll call industrial paperweight, and this guy. Let's talk tunings. Generally, these guitars are strung in an open tuning of some sort, meaning the strings sounding together outline either a major or minor chord. Common tunings include open E, D, or G for slide guitars, and a few that may be a little less familiar to you, such as A6 or E9, and the one I've chosen to start my little journey with here, C6. Strings from low to high will spell out a C major chord with an added 6th degree, so you can think of it as a C triad on the bottom with an A minor on top. So from low to high, C, E, G, A, C, E, Kegus. You will probably recognize this as the SpongeBob sound.
SpongeBob!
That is because this tuning and guitar style are heavily associated with Hawaiian slack key guitar traditions, and they're also common in things like Western swing and modern country. Because we have both a major and a minor triad in the same position, representing the 1 and the 6th chord of your tonic key, if you consider the lowest string being your root, with a straight bar position, a lot of what you'll need to effectively play the instrument is made readily available by just dragging that bar around, making sure the notes are in tune. Now you can even play a few inversions of both chords in the same position by just moving that right hand around, and with a little bit of vibrato you got yourself a sound you can absolutely use right away. But if you really want to be expressive, open up on the instrument, play something as simple as a dominant 7th chord, you're absolutely going to have to learn about slants. That means moving that bar diagonally, and this is where the fun starts, okay? Easier slants are done clockwise, while the more difficult version is rotated counterclockwise, anti-clockwise if you know what a Greg's sausage roll is. Combined with a volume pedal, this is where the sound really starts to take shape once you get that technique down. And once you're comfortable with the basics, you got yourself a really good old-fashioned country sound. But in order to get that real pedal steel feel, the next stop on the road to Rusty Youngville is going to be the benders. They do exactly what they say on the box. These little guys bend notes upward to achieve that iconic pitch effect that you associate with a steel guitar. Now, without the benders, I have seen people physically reach behind the slide with their middle finger and pull the string to achieve a similar effect. And I admire the ingenuity, I certainly admire the skill, but there is something I feel missing with the sound of that technique. And the range of the bends are ultimately limited by how far the string can horizontally travel without running into another one. It's not a super pretty sound when they collide, if I'm being honest. So I did a little bit of research, and it felt like the best option for me was to purchase a set of bender arms and a rolling bridge from Sertano. This is not exactly what I'd call the budget option at a large fraction of what I paid for the guitar itself, but they are top quality products, no denying it, and after a quick correspondence with the man himself, absolutely lovely guy, it was clear that the Gretsch installation would not be an issue. Benders themselves, if you've never seen them, are these little rabbit ear things past the end of the bridge. The strings are strung onto these tiny little rods on the lever themselves and pass over the rolling bridge, which essentially moves with the string to prevent stress and breakage and allows for a more clean upward pitch trajectory, as you can see in this clip here. Now, bit of a warning here, this did require removing the stock bridge, including the little metal inserts that assist in the through stringing. And I cannot emphasize this enough, it also required physically drilling in to a newly purchased guitar.
High anxiety.
But the end result was actually better than I even expected, and Sertano included some templates that made installation a lot easier than I was anticipating, even for me. A really dumb guy. Now, once installed, the benders could be configured to raise the pitch of the second or third strings when pressed. The interval of that completed bend is then adjusted via Allen wrench on the middle lug of the lever arm itself. Now, I chose to tune both to raise each string by a whole step. And this allows, with some careful practice, for you to raise the pitch by either a whole or a half step, depending on the pressure you give the lever. In C6 tuning, I feel like this really opens up the options available to you as far as chord voicings are concerned, and it also allows for some pretty interesting single note lines. Of course, you can configure it for a bigger or a smaller interval depending on the tuning and the application. Just keep in mind that strings can only tighten so far before they snap and someone loses an eye, so please be careful. Now, if you don't want the rabbit ears in your business, let's say you want a palm mute or something, or just need access to the bridge, you can easily move them out of the way. How easily they move can also be adjusted via Allen wrench or just made finger tight on the bender mechanism itself, similar to a whammy. Speaking of, you can really abuse the hell out of this thing with a rolling bridge to get some pretty wacky pitch effects. Highly recommend it. Now, at this point, it really feels like skill and creativity are the only limits. I will certainly continue to practice, explore some different tunings, try layering recordings to get like that authentic pedal steel sound if I can. I'll definitely be running this guitar through some of my weirder effects pedals, and if any of that's worth hearing, I'll be sure to share the results. I'm working on some new tunes lately that I hope to get recorded and mixed by the fall if I can, and I'm sure lap steel will make an appearance there. Now, let's say you needed some good, actually helpful resources for installing the mods we talked about today. I will definitely try to include some of those in the video description. That's all for today. I'm hoping to put out some more of these smaller videos on a more regular basis here, so if you think of any topics around music or specifically guitar that you'd like me to cover, feel free to leave a suggestion. This video is a bit slapdash, a bit thrown together, but I think all things considered that went fairly smoothly, right? Fuck. Just hold the fucking sticks like a normal person. Fuck! Two! That was pretty good. And I can't wait to do some more. This is really fun. If you have any questions, concerns, just want to say hi, please leave a comment below. I understand there's a mechanism you can use on this website to express your like or dislike for something. Consider that. And I'm looking forward to engaging with all 6 of you. Thanks for watching. Till next time.